What's going on, guys? Zedd here, bringing you another 2x KO video. This one's going to be just sort of tips with Darius. There's plenty of starter guides out there already, but there's not a lot of that intermediate, quality of content. I don't think there's any world where anyone can do advanced stuff yet. It's only Alpha Lab. It's only been out for less than a week. So I'm not here for advanced stuff, but I'm going to give you some pointers with Darius or things to consider that you may not know or you may not be familiar with, and maybe some things to consider if you're trying to pick up Darius or you're curious about the character. So without further ado, let's get into the first tip. So the first thing I want to mention with Darius is one that I find quite shocking every time I do it, and it bothers me all the time when I do it. But Darius can combo off of his own throw mid-screen. Like so. And so on and so forth. Now, in the corner, this is like tip... Okay, Alawi. This is like tip 1.5. He can combo off his throw. Yeah. So, it's kind of crazy. Like, this character's strike throw is ridiculous because of the fact he can combo off his throw anywhere on the front throw, I should say. Anywhere on the screen. His back throw is pretty ho-hum, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. So yeah, tip 1, he can combo off his own grab. Keep that in mind, see what your character can do, or your team can do, and go from there. Tip number 2 has to do with the hook. The hook is not a move you should be using too often, as it is quite slow. But if you do use it, or you cover it in block strings, like let's say, right, like that, right, or you've just done different means of tightening it up, whatever, who cares. All 3 of the options, right, the overhead, mid, and the grab, they all can be fully delayed. Now, why is this important? Well, just as a one-off example, and I do talk about this in my Darius, or how to beat Darius guide, if you want to check that out. One of the ways that this could be important is, let me make sure she jumps, she does, is if you're worried about them jumping the command throw here, like that, you can delay it. And kind of react to their throw, right? And everything whiffs. But, or not their throw, I'm sorry, you react to their jump. Because it's delayable, right, since the jump is beating out everything if you delay, you don't want to commit if you delay and they jump, but what you do want to do is jump throw. And just like his regular throw, oops, combo, right? So the fact it's delayable, it does deal with jumpers, and if you instantly press, right, overhead will catch jump, the mid will catch jump, but the command throw will whiff. Now say you have someone jumping in a block string, and this is where this tip is more relevant, right? So jumping there is quite interesting because it beats out that, and it also beats out hook. And if you notice the hook follow-ups, that's blocked. That's blocked. That whiffs. If you delay it, grab her. Okay? So there's sort of a reverse mix-up here. A mix-up on the mix-up, if you will. So that is the second tip, is if you're using hook in block string or raw, keep in mind that all 3 options are delayable, and that benefits you for different reasons. The third tip I want to talk about, and I mentioned this in my Alawi tips video, I don't know if it'll be before or after this one, but is that she has a hard time dealing with retreating guard. Darius does not, and the reason being is this guy right here, 3M. So 3M is an insane range, low, 15 frames, and it's so good, even just to control space. But what's nice is you don't have to do this kind of thing. Oops. Right, you don't have to do low, dash. Oh my gosh, I'm messing it up. Low, dash, low, dash. You can just do this. Like, you can do a bunch of lows in a row. And that is really, really powerful, believe it or not. Because if the opponent does not retreating guard, here, let me set the bot to do it. Let's do retreating at like frame 12, for example. So if she's retreating guard, that'll whiff. That'll whiff, right? You kind of get the idea. But if you have all these lows, right? She just doesn't ever get to retreating guard. And if she waits a little longer, this is hard to test because the way the frames work, so I do apologize. You'll catch the retreating guard. Now, it's not a big reward, definitely, but look at that. Look at the frame data, okay? Do you see that number? Look how plus that is. You have a quadrillion years. Look at this. Look at that. That's real. You have time to do that. Okay? So you really do not want to just, you know, willy-nilly retreating guard against Darius. Look at how much damage you eat. Look. Oh, sorry. I just did 736 off of a retreating guard catch. Sorry. My bad. Idiot. Right? Right? So, his retreating guard game, or anti-retreating guard game is very, very good. And it's funny because retreating guard is so powerful against all his specials, literally all of them, that he kind of needs this. If he didn't have this, he would be in a Lowy situation, but worse, in that he would have no option to counter retreating guard. So if your opponent is retreating guard and you play Darius, start working that in, run up, super. Again, you have way more time than you think. Way more time. Right? And just see what you can do. That is tip number 3. Tip number 4 is regarding the DP, and this is more of just a PSA, right? This goes for both playing Darius and against playing Darius. Be careful of this move for a few reasons. And the first being that it is only one hit of armor. So at the end of the day, what ends up happening is, say, you know, if I don't want to set it up in the lab, but if Ahri assist is on you, or they're covering assist with their attack and they do it within a few frames, they'll bust right through your armor. It is not like Brahm's shield. Brahm's shield, his personal shield, he can just hold it, right? Darius is not the case. It is an armored special. I don't actually know if it says it here. Let's see. Oh, that's a Lowy. Yeah, so it doesn't actually say in the tooltip here, but it is only a single hit of armor. Okay, so do keep that in mind. If you're playing against Darius, try to find a way to multi-hit and or just leave gaps. It's not good to mash out if the opponent is doing gaps or multi-hits, but it is something worth keeping in mind. And I know that sounds like an obvious tip, but the amount of people I see not even considering my 2S2, obviously it's worth mentioning, and that is tip number 4. And tip number 5 is something that I want to mention because it may not be obvious, but and a good way to kind of demonstrate this will be in the corner with a Lowy. There we go. So it's that Darius, right, his one special, or super rather, it will always swap sides, and you may not necessarily want this, especially if you have corner control like this. So if you're playing Darius, one of the ways you can work around this is either you would combo and swap into your ally, right? So just, this isn't optimal by any means, but just for example, right, you could go heavy and tag launcher, and whatever your ally is, you do a combo with them, right? But let's say you have... Sorry, there we go. Say you have double down, right? You can always work into Darius after that. But again, you may not want to, right? So say I just do this, just for argument's sake. Well, the last thing I want to do is give up the corner. You get the idea. So, what you can do is with your other ally, if they're in the corner, and you want to end on Darius, but you don't want to give up the corner, right? But you want that hard knockdown because it's amazing Oki, is tag launcher into heavy charge aerial. I'll show you what I mean by that.
Got it.
Right, so something like that. And now, there's more you can do there depending on the combo and what you did into it, but just for argument's sake and reliability, you can just do charge heavy into down S1. But now you have that corner, you have that plus 50 frames, you have like there's just so many ways to kind of set this up with his charge heavy that I really do think it is worth learning. Just use his charge heavy. It helps you keep the corner when you are wanting to use his down S1 for the Oki, and just work with your team, see how you can navigate that. Otherwise, obviously you can end combos with this instead, which is totally reasonable as it does apply bleed, right? But that may not be the winning condition, right? You might be looking to get the kill, and then you want the opponent to, you know, say my down S1 kills Ari. Well, I don't want to use that one. I would rather, you know, use the down S1, know if it kills, and then it sets up the corner better because it's better positioning, things like this. Well, whatever, right? You can play with it, whatever works for you. But yeah, there you go. Those are my 5 tips for Darius that you may or may not already know. Something a bit more advanced than beginner, and hopefully that gives you some insight, some things to think about, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out for now.